I've mentored teenagers from being on the extra learning support list to being some of the highest performing teenagers at the school. I've worked with teenagers who have gone from juvie and being expelled and suspended from school to being high performers in their own field. And also I've worked with teenagers who have been able to compete on an international stage in multiple sports. I started coaching teenagers in 2013, and throughout that time I've seen what can happen to a teenager who struggles with confidence, resilience and quality connection in their life. The traditional school systems tend to miss the mark on a lot of the life skills that are needed for a teenager to grow for the long term. Today I'm going to talk you through how having a mentor in your teen's corner is going to be one of the best things that they can do for themselves. From taking them from being lazy, unmotivated and insecure to being able to improve in almost every aspect of their life to achieve their full potential. First, let's look at why teens are struggling. Teens today face so many pressures, from independence, social pressure, dealing with social media, and trying to figure out how they can get through this world without constantly having comparison of other people and trying to navigate the emotional ups and downs of life. These pressures often lead to low confidence, low self-esteem, emotional fragility, and a lot of overwhelm that comes with dealing with general stress. As a result, many teenagers fall through the cracks, particularly those that don't fall into traditional school systems. Those who have teenagers who have ADHD or are neurodivergent know exactly what I'll be talking about. I've seen it happen over and over again, and the hardest part is just watching it from the outside. I know how hard it can be for parents to be able to try and navigate all the challenges of the world that the teens are facing, and yet we really don't have control over what's going to happen in their life. It can cause a lot of stress and headaches in your life, which is only going to inhibit the family connection that you'd like to have at home. Because as parents, sometimes we're not the solution to every problem. You're absolutely doing your best, but it's really hard to wear every single hat and have every single role in your child's life. From parent to motivator to disciplinarian to life coach, there's only so many things you can do. It can be quite exhausting, and for someone who's so close and so emotionally involved in the process, being a little bit too close doesn't actually mean that our child is going to open up to us. They may feel judged, embarrassed, or feel like they're letting you down. That's why sometimes having someone outside the family is going to help them to get the most out of themselves because they can open up. As a mentor, there's an air of confidentiality which comes with the agreement. It's there to help promote the vulnerable conversations that are going to happen between the mentor and the teenager. I find when it comes to people that know them really well, there's almost a sense of expectation which comes with it, from friend to friend or relative to relative. The most important part of my work is to help teenagers to meet them where they're at, to not put expectations on them or judgment on where they feel like they should be at or how successful they are. I'll let the teenager almost guide the session to help them feel like they're the one who's driving everything and it's keeping them on track and keeping them motivated. But in my own way, I'm helping guide the sessions toward the skills which need to be learned along the way. But we just apply it in a specific sense to them. That means we can work across the spectrum without them even realizing it. For example, working with kids who need to improve their school, we work on time management, organisation, and helping them to build the mindset that's going to be needed for them to actually commit to the challenging subjects and exams that are going to come along the way. For sport and physical health, it's about building toughness for them and learning how to work through the uncomfortable feelings to help them become stronger, more confident, and also help them to feel like they're actually working towards something with purpose. For their social life, it's about teaching quality communication skills, helping them set boundaries, and ensuring that they're in a situation or an environment that's going to be positive for them rather than being negative and being caught in a bad direction. And a really big part is actually the mindset and life skills which come too. We're talking about organisation, setting a clear schedule, learning how to build habits, and of course, learning how to set goals, both short-term, medium-term, and long-term. That way they can stay focused, on track, and they can apply it to all the different aspects of their life. I've worked with hundreds of teenagers over my time, and many of them don't fit in the traditional mold. The ones who tend to fall through the cracks of therapy and traditional counselling. Those are the ones that know they can improve, but they just don't know how to get there. Most teenagers I work with have tried something before, have gone through a specific program, but it just hasn't quite fit. My approach is different because it's completely strength-based. It means I use what is working for teenagers in this moment and using it as a way to be able to build it into the rest of their life. That way we're not talking about all the problems which are going wrong and depleting the confidence, but actually talking about building them up and using it as a way to build them confidence, self-belief in themselves, and then applying it through the rest of the challenges which they find is not quite up to where they should be. That way we create momentum and we can actually get a real move on to all these really difficult conversations that happen. For example, I don't focus on why they're not good at math. I help them use the great skills and mindset that they've created throughout their sport and use it to apply to their school too. I put it into terms they can understand and aspects they can relate to. That way their math ends up being a lot better simply because we've created this entire mindset that is focused on the process and not the outcome. And all of it is just focusing on the strengths at work in another aspect and applying it to everything else. You may be running how it affects your parent to child experience too. I'm going to tell you this is actually the best part, because while I'm having all the tough conversations and challenging them and pushing them to work harder, you get to enjoy the fun aspects. You get to focus on the love and nurturing that comes along with quality family relationships, and I get to push them to become a better, stronger person on the outside. That way you get to see all the amazing gains that will happen along the way while also enjoying the process too. Yes, there's a financial investment, but the emotional return is huge. Less conflict, more confidence, better results. If your teenager needs guidance, support, and some accountability from someone on the outside, this is a time to get the mentor involved. If you want your teenager to join my coaching or find out more about it, please click the link below. If you want to see some previous examples of other teenagers I've worked with, be sure to click the videos and make sure you press subscribe to follow more specific advice for teenagers.